Rum, sugar, and lime. Sounds harmless enough. But those three ingredients rode the back of empire. It's late. That kind of late where the street outside goes quiet, and the bar finally starts to breathe again. I've wiped the counter clean, set the bottles back where they belong, and poured myself something simple. Rum, a squeeze of lime, just a touch of sugar. Same way I've done it for decades. Same way men were drinking it long before I was born. Funny thing is, most folks see a drink like this and think of vacations. Warm air, white shirts, easy laughter. They don't think about history. But every glass on this bar has a past, and some of those pasts are heavy. Tonight, I've got time to tell you about one of them. Rum, sugar, and lime sounds harmless enough. But those three ingredients rode the back of empire. It starts with sugar. Sweetness has always had power. In the 1600s, Europe developed a hunger for it that bordered on obsession. Tea, coffee, desserts. Suddenly everyone wanted things sweet. And sugarcane doesn't grow in London or Paris. It grows in the Caribbean, in Brazil, in places taken by force and worked by people who had no say in the matter. Plantations didn't run on sunshine and palm trees. They ran on enslaved labor. Men, women, and children stolen from Africa, shipped across the Atlantic like cargo, and worked until their bodies gave out. Sugar was cheap in Europe because human life was treated as cheaper. That's not poetry. That's accounting. Molasses was a byproduct of sugar refining, sticky, dark, and once considered waste. But someone figured out you could ferment it, distill it, and turn it into rum. Suddenly, the leftovers of exploitation became a new commodity. Rum was strong, shelf-stable, and profitable. It fueled ships, armies, and economies. There was a triangle to it. Ships left Europe with manufactured goods. Those goods were traded in Africa for enslaved people. Those people were sold in the Americas to work sugar plantations. Sugar and molasses went back to Europe. Rum filled the gaps, greased the wheels. It paid sailors. It kept order. Sometimes it bought silence. Ports like Havana, Kingston, and New Orleans became crossroads of money and muscle. Rum barrels rolled through warehouses controlled by merchants, politicians, and men who preferred not to be asked too many questions. Where there's profit, power follows. Where there's alcohol, deals get made. And then there's lime. That one surprises people. Lime feels clean, fresh, almost innocent. But it came along for empire too. British sailors were issued lime juice to prevent scurvy, which helped keep ships at sea longer. Longer voyages meant tighter control over colonies. The lime wedge in your drink traces back to naval strategy and global dominance. Put it all together and you've got the bones of cocktail culture. Spirits born from forced labor. Sweetness extracted through violence. Citrus carried by warships. Eventually, these ingredients made their way into drawing rooms and hotel bars, far from the fields and chains that produced them. By the time cocktails became fashionable in the 19th and early 20th centuries, the worst of it had been carefully hidden. Slavery had been outlawed in name, but exploitation just learned new disguises: cheap labor, debt, colonial rule dressed up as civilization. The drinks stayed the same. The stories didn't. When Prohibition hit America, rum found another life. Smugglers ran it up the coast into speakeasies and back rooms. Money changed hands. Politicians looked the other way. Organized outfits built empires of their own, not so different from the old ones, just closer to home. Alcohol has always liked the shadows. I've poured drinks for bankers who never asked where the bottle came from, only how fast I could refill it. I've watched deals close over cocktails that cost more than a plantation worker once earned in a year. History doesn't vanish. It just gets quieter. That doesn't mean you can't enjoy a drink. I still do. But I think it matters to know what you're holding. That rum carries the weight of oceans crossed against human will. That sugar once meant blood and sweat before it meant pleasure. That lime reminds us how far nations went to keep their grip on the world. A cocktail is a small thing, really. A few ounces in a glass. But it's also a map of trade routes, of power, of who paid the price so others could toast. When someone orders a rum drink from me now, I make it with care. I don't preach. I don't ruin the moment. But sometimes when the bar is quiet like this, I think about the hands that cut the cane, the ships that carried the barrels, the systems that made it all possible. And I take a slower sip. So next time you lift a glass, whether it's in a crowded party or alone at the end of a long day, take a second. Taste the sweetness. Feel the burn. Think about how far it traveled to reach you. Because history isn't just in books. Sometimes it's right there in your hand, asking to be remembered.